X-Men number 9 continues the Brood's invasion of Krakoa in a story by Jonathan Hickman and Leinil Francis Yu, this time with blindingly exciting Marvel Cosmic Editions. Today I'll answer, what's the secret origin of the Brood? What's the purpose of the King Egg? And who is the new Brood King? And what does all this mean for the X-Men? And did I totally call it in my X-Men number 8 predictions? You're listening to Krakoa. I'm Dave Busing, founder and editor-in-chief of comicbookherald.com. If you like the CBH YouTube channel or podcast, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing. Links to CBH channels, including new uploads to IGTV and Patreon support, are included in the show notes. You can find full X-Men and comic book reading orders over on comicbookherald.com. Spoilers for Discuss Comics may follow. While X-Men number 8 left off with the X-Men Summers Clan fleeing Krakoa with the Brood hot on their tail, issue 9 kicks off with a flashback to the Kree's secret order of Black Judges and their secret plans for the Brood. The Black Judges are the secret science arm of the Kree's accusers, a la Ronan the Accuser, and in X-Men number 9 we see their desire to quite literally weaponize other alien races. The origins for the King Egg, an intriguing mystery since the dawn of X's New Mutants number 1, begin to make sense. The Black Judges take this knowledge to the Supreme Intelligence, who analyzes that of all Kree galactic rivals, the Hive Society of the Brood would prove most effective against the shi'ar. On a mildly related note, when I went back and read the Hickman-written FF issues as part of my theories on Black Bolt and Vulcan, check out those Krakoa episodes if you haven't already, they were really fun to do, I remembered how much he loves the Kree Supreme Intelligence. Mix that in with the obsession on hive mind societies in X-Men currently, and I'd bet good money we see a Professor X/Cerebro-style big ol' head in a jar on Krakoa at some point. My money is on Shadow King. The Kree's development of the King Egg is integral to this plot, effectively tampering with Brood Empress pheromone control of the Hive and offering a serum within that will actually give the King Egg host control of the Brood. It's a fascinating look into both the depths the Kree will reach to ensure galactic dominance and the origins and behaviors of the Brood in the Marvel Universe. As with any Hickman data page, the final note is a great bit of foreshadowing, reminding us that the King Egg is a Kree-manufactured weapon and ostensibly could be rebuilt in order to take away a host's control of the Hive. Now, we get the current state of the Brood as we've known them kind of explained. All consumption, all the time, never satiated and never resting. The mere presence and existence of the King Egg and the threat it represents to the Empress's status quo is enough to send the entire mass of Brood in a berserk rage down to Krakoa, where we saw them invade in X-Men number 8. Of course, in present day, Gladiator and the Shi'ar confront the Black Judge Accuser, seeking the King Egg in Shi'ar space and simultaneously holding the Starjammers prisoner. The fact that this doubles as some nice father-son time for Gladiator and Emperor Gladiator is a fun touch. One major question I still have from this interaction is how much the Shi'ar know about the Kree's Black Judges, and in this case the King Egg. When the Starjammers and New Mutants steal the King Egg back in New Mutants number 1, it's in a Shi'ar facility. So we know they know of it, but did they know its purpose as a weapon designed specifically against them and their entire society? The entire affair leads to a massive everyone versus the Brood throwdown until my absolute favorite young man, Brew, steps up and eats the King Egg, like a goddamn breakfast-eating champion. And so it is that Brew, mutant Brood full of compassion and intelligence, became king of the Brood, and the great X-Men Brood alliance began. Or I would hypothesize. I would like to take a moment here to bow thoroughly off camera and praise myself for totally calling this in my review of X-Men number 8, not specifically Brew eating the egg, but that there would be a Brood X-Men alliance. Sure, I spent an entire theory video thinking this issue would really hone in on Vulcan. Hint, it does not, but I got something right at least. My favorite detail, though, is the cosmic data page detailing a report from the Black Judges in their efforts to weaponize slave alien races. I'm not going to fixate on it for the time being, but I'm also deeply curious about the facts stated here, which is actually backed up in the History of the Marvel Universe number 1, recently by Mark Waid and Javier Rodriguez, that the Brood entered our reality from another reality and are, quote, extra universal. Seems like the kind of wild science fiction that just might come up again. Although both extinct races, the Tal'Bari and Gunos, do not appear to have any Marvel Universe history, the 4 remaining races absolutely do, and I'd like to shed a little light on what's happening there and why it might matter. The first one, the Seedri. Amazingly, the Seedri aren't even the deepest cut on this list, although I'll admit a huge part of that is because they get their moment to shine in the Hickman and Alan Davis giant-sized Nightcrawler number 1, which came out the same day as X-Men number 9. I covered the Seedri in depth over in my review of the giant-size issue, but the biggest things to note about the Seedri are as follows. They're a hive of beetle-like aliens that cluster to form everything from visions of X-Men to spaceships, and they work as freelance bounty hunters, which is pretty darn awesome. And of course, we know all about the Phalanx, teased as one of the major threats, if not the ultimate threat, in the pages of Powers of 10. It's no surprise that the Kree failed to weaponize the Phalanx, given what we know about their nearly unending adaptive nature deep into the future of the cosmos as it will relate to mutant kind. The Phalanx, of course, have a major role to play here. Saving the best for last, though, how about the flippin' Scatter not only making an appearance, but doubling as the only other Black Judge success, albeit a minor one, alongside the Brood? If you're unfamiliar with the Scatter, well, I'm sure you're not alone. This is a super deep cut from Hickman and Company, and as far as I'm aware, the Scatter only ever really have a presence in the Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning written Force Works from 1994. In line with hive mind features of the Chosen Civilizations, and in line with the ew spiders factor of the Seedry, the Scatter also make big aliens out of tiny little bug aliens, like a Russian doll, but creepy and murdery. Another detail I enjoy is the lettering for their alien language includes the occasional lightning bolt, a cipher I would love to see adopted into the native Krakoan. Final fun facts about the Scatter? Well, first, there are also pod people, just like our friendly neighborhood mutants, which could be absolutely nothing, but I see a P-pod these days and I start making connections to Krakoa, so it's worth mentioning. More intriguing, when the Scatter attempt their invasion of Earth to devour life on the planet, yes, shades of Galactus for sure, they open a rift in reality and attempt to literally drop a destroyed planet onto Houston, Texas. It's very MCU Chitauri meets Thanos, making it both awesome and an interesting possible connection to accessing other realities. Some questions. Who are the Kree aiming the Scatter at? I'd love to know more about that. If they're aiming the Brood at the Shi'ar, where are the Scatter going? I still want to know about the fire that burns within the fire of Vulcan as well. We got no development of the great Vulcan mystery. That remains in X-Men comics. And another big question here, a number of questions really, is it's easy to lose sight of it because it has not been really much of a part of Dawn of X. But how does the relationship with the Brood figure into the Myra, Professor X, Magneto plans for mutant kind? Taking a step back, how does anything happening in the Dawn of X fit into their plans? How much of this is planned versus seat-of-your pants survival? It's important to keep in mind they're playing a centuries-long game here, and I really don't have a sense at this point of what is planned versus what is completely out of their control. Ending here with some predictions. I've been really curious about Krakoa's relationship with space and the many galactic civilizations of the Marvel Universe, and this likely aligns with the Brood, assuming Brood doesn't, immediately turn his back on the X-Men. If not, outright possible weaponization, assuming, Brood doesn't turn his back on them, is a huge development. Between the Brood and CG, we now have two possible alien hives allied with the X-Men, which feels like the sort of thing they'll need when, alright, I'm going to call it now, the Phalanx attack. Thanks everybody for listening, and thanks especially to patrons over on patreon.com/comicbookherald. I want to thank everybody in the mysterious benefactors tier for your support. You get a shout out here in the video. Thanks Jeff Zacharias, Trey Conrad, Jesse W., Slatron, Robert Mickelson, Professor Pride, and Steve Brennan for your fabulous support of Comic Book Herald Enterprises. I'm Dave Busing. You can find me at Comic Book Herald on social. You can find all of my writing and analysis and reading orders over at comicbookherald.com. If you want to talk X-Men, you can head to either of those places. And I would also encourage you to check out the podcast Best Comics Ever and My Marvelous Year, where we are reading through the Marvel Universe from its origins to today for a fun, good time and some fun comic book analysis. So I want to hear your thoughts, opinions, theories here in the comments on YouTube or elsewhere. Thanks everybody for listening, and as always, enjoy the comics.